Hi everyone, welcome to Homeschool Autism Life. My name is Jamie. This week's video is all about how I test in Gather Round Homeschool. Now right off the bat, I want to say if you are somebody who doesn't like testing, who doesn't appreciate testing, there is no judgment, no need for you to do this. I have my reasons, which I will explain. But I also don't test for all of my children. And so what do I mean by that? So I am a homeschool mom to 3 children. My son is 12 years old and he is autistic, and he is a extreme reluctant learner. I need to be with him all of the time. And so it just doesn't make sense for me to push that on him until he's ready. And I'm hoping that as we move forward, he will become more independent, but we're not there yet. With my daughters, up until March 2020, the girls are schooled at a local school. And so they understand a certain amount of the value of having a grade. They didn't get A's and B's and C's, but it was, you know, if you get 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 on your spelling test, you can have a chocolate bar treat. And so there's an understanding there that I wanted to kind of continue, knowing that eventually when they get to high school or maybe even college or university, that there was an understanding of the value of that work effort and what that grade mark means, so that they have a clear understanding of, choices equal consequences in school. So how do I do it for Gather Round in particular is I like to space out, you'll know why that's funny in a minute. I want to take a geography unit and then put it in with a science unit to break up, because I don't want country after country after country and them all to become kind of a blur. So we've been doing a continent study and then space or human body or something like that, earth science in between those. What Gather Round really does well is that they do Bible memory. By the end of a unit, they will have 5 verses memorized. And so that's the first test that I do, is I have them do a Bible. But I do it very different. I do it marginally different for both of my girls. My eldest daughter is 11 and she has a memory like a steel trap. She will remember everything. And so I feel like I can really push her to remember where the verses are from and whatever. So the first test that I did, and it was literally went through their notebook, found the verses and typed it out and then created a space, and then she filled it in. I didn't give her a word bank, but for my daughter, who does struggle with memory, I gave her a word bank. And they're in 2 different levels. So my daughter, the youngest, is in early elementary and my eldest is in upper elementary. So once I realized that she could do this no problem, then I just started giving her the reference and then having her fill that out. And so that was how she did that. Same with this one. My daughter, she had no problem. She got 100%, and I'm like, okay, I need to challenge her a little bit more. And so then I started doing this. Same thing with her, but I would give her little hints. So one hint, one blank is an animal that can be very mad. And so that was on the bear and the Orion. So that was the space memory one. And this was just recently, and she's been doing fairly well on those. So on the Africa one, so because we go through the flashcards regularly, I did this for my Sienna. I only did 10 out of the 20 because I didn't want to overwhelm her. And she did very well, 100%, but I gave my upper elementary all of them, and she did really well, 90% on that one as well. So with South America, I actually didn't change a lot for my girls with South America. They only had 10 flags, so I used the page that they had filled in, and then I just printed off the flags that we had discussed. And with my youngest daughter, or with both of them, I actually just cut the labels off and had them attach it all. And she did really, really well, 10 out of 10, where my youngest had a little bit more difficulty with that. And then because with South America, they had a Spanish flashcards that we went through, I did the same thing with them, and I did just a simple conversation with the ones that we had, and I had them translate this conversation. And with my youngest, I had her translate, but I gave her a couple of hints for llama means name, for instance. And then the last one that I did was the last one I have to show you is the space unit. And so with this one, I just printed off one of the ladder units where you were supposed to fill out all of the thing, and then I gave a word bank to my youngest and didn't for my older daughter. And then I had them fill in planet features, name 3 features of some of the planets in our solar system, what is orbit and rotation, and then an interesting fact. Write 3 sentences about your favorite planet and also tell me why. And with my older daughter, I had her write 5. So it's all about like stretching and growing your children to know which one works best. Now for the last thing that I wanted to share with you about testing with Gather Round Homeschool is I give them a couple of things. So there's a main overall project within Gather Round, but I also, and I said the last 2 things, I also have them write a book report. I assign them one book that they read over the course of our unit. We do a unit in 6 weeks, and they do a book report on it. And I just go to Google and I find printable book reports based on their grade levels, which is a perfect way to do it. And sometimes they do really well and sometimes they don't, because especially for my middle child who's 11, she likes to just do it as quickly as she possibly can. And I really do feel that it's important to give them the grade that they deserve, not the grade that I think I want to give them. And part of that is teaching my children choices that have consequences is really, really important to me, because I look at them and go, I'm setting you up for life after homeschool, life after being in our household. And so if you do a half-hearted job on your book report, your mark is going to affect that. Just like if you did a half-hearted effort at work, you might lose your job. I really want them to understand that in the safety of our home. But book reports, even the rubrics, so the grading rubrics for that are all available on Google. You just have to find one that has a good resolution to print it out. Completely available to you. So speaking of grading rubrics, same deal goes for any of the projects that they've had in Gather Round Homeschool stuff. I did a rubric for the South America diorama, and it was just as simple as printing it out and following it through. It's really simple, really easy, and I didn't know what it was called, but that's one thing that I really enjoyed doing. The one thing that I will say about the grading rubrics is print them off before you have your kids finish their assignments, or partway through, or even before, so that you can teach them what you're going to be looking for when you do this. So this last South America unit was all about building your own newspaper. And I have never marked a newspaper before. I've never actually technically built one. But I had a whole bunch of newspapers out for the kids to use as examples. Excuse me, but it was one of those things where I didn't realize to pinpoint certain things for them. And so their newspapers, this one's all about weather. My daughter wrote her articles, but then put the pictures to the side, and then didn't write a caption. So I was like, oh, that's Mama's fault, because I didn't even think. So it's things like that where you want to be a little bit more clear and concise for your children. And this is how my other daughter did hers. It was all about her eye therapy. But that was the one hint or suggestion I would give for another mom who's looking at rubrics and stuff like that. Try and do that ahead of schedule so that you can just let your kids know what you're expecting of them. But that's how I do some marking for my kids. It gives me an idea of where they are and what we need to work on, which I really like. And it gives them that as well. It gives them the ability to do that. You could do the same thing with the spelling words. We do something different with spelling for various reasons, but I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that you've enjoyed me ranting and kind of being crazy about this, but I hope it helps and gives you some ideas if you are looking to do that with your kids. God bless you. I hope you are having a wonderful day. We will talk to you next time. Bye.